welcome to Stash Chats. Thank you so much if you're joining us live. Don't forget to join in with the live chat. And if you are watching us on Catch Up on YouTube, do give us a thumbs up and drop into the comments as well. So I can see the live chat's already kicked off. So let's say hello to a couple of people. So hello to Alison joining us from Kent, and Mel's in Woking and is really looking forward to this. So that's going to be really good fun. So yeah, I'm going to be chatting to Kayleigh from Fleur a bit later on. But yeah, so first let's just welcome you guys to the chat. Hello, Hannah, Squiggle and Giggle. Love that name. That's so fun. Yeah, so how are you guys all doing? You might be able to tell from my voice that I'm just coming off the back end of a cold, but I'm picking up now, so I'm feeling good. We got a couple of big bits of Stash Hub news as well, that you've probably already heard if you are following us on Instagram, but we are going to be exhibiting for the very first time at the Stitch Festival in London. So if you are around, do pop by and say hi to us. So it's at the Business Design Centre in London from the 20th to the 24th of March. So yeah, do get your tickets and come along and say hi if you are in the UK or near London. And then the other big piece of Stash Hub news is that you can now subscribe to Stash Hub Plus on the web version of Stash Hub, so you don't have to set up your accounts in the App Store. You can subscribe via PayPal or debit card in the website version of Stash Hub as well, and then you only need to subscribe on one device, and you can use Stash Hub Plus on all of your devices. But if you are on our Stash Hub mailing list, I will have sent you lots of information about that this evening, so go and check your inbox. Oh, Alison's coming to Stitch Festival on Sunday. Yeah, come and say hello. We're on stand J56. We're sharing the stand with our friends from Studio 77 who do bag making. But yeah, it's going to be a really good, fun show. So yeah, do come and say hi if you're going to be there. Anyway, that is my little catch up. But yeah, keep it going in the chat and do ask your questions for Kayleigh as well. So Kayleigh is the owner and founder of Fleur, the fabric shop, and they have a really, really gorgeous range of colourful and quirky different prints for both quilting and dressmaking. And Kayleigh is an avid multi-crafter, so I'm really excited to hear more about her crafting journey and how she got started on her business. So yeah, you can join in with your questions as well. Just pop into the live chat. So let's get Kayleigh on and get this stash chat going. Hi, Kayleigh.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to Stash Chats.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Loving your glasses. I feel like you always get compliments on your glasses.
I do. They're just from Specsavers, guys. But yeah, head to the men's section. Don't bother with the ladies because they're pants. Basically. No.
Top tips.
Yeah, top tips. Head for the men's section. They just got brighter colours over there. They have got some genuinely lovely colours in the women's section. Unfortunately, lilac does not go with my complexion. So if you like lilac or red, you're fine. But otherwise, men's section it is.
Excellent. So do you want to kick us off by just telling us about how you first got into sewing?
Yeah, so I was kind of having a little bit of a think about this because I kind of feel like there isn't a definite like mark in the sand. It was very much a case of I have always been interested in adapting my clothes because growing up we didn't have a lot of we couldn't go out and buy new clothes whenever we wanted. It was like I lived in hand-me-downs. I was the second daughter, so whatever my sister got, I got eventually, that kind of stuff. So it was very much I dressed in what I had to wear, and my style, although perhaps wasn't to everybody's tastes, it was my style, and I had visions and dreams of like creating these amazing outfits with zero sewing skills whatsoever. you know, like the age of 9 and getting this old t-shirt and like chopping it up into a crop top that probably looked hideous. It was really badly hemmed, hand stitched hemming. But it's grown from that, I think. That I just
And
had.
was your parents like, were they supportive of that? Or were they just like, oh gosh, Kayleigh's ruined some more clothes? Or they're like, oh, they were hand-me-downs anyway, let her have her fun.
You know, I think the clothes that I really attacked were clothes that I had like, I remember this beige t-shirt. That's always what sticks in my mind when people ask me about what your first me made was. And it's like this hideous beige t-shirt from the 90s. And I adorned it with sequins and pom-poms and ridiculous things that I had in my craft stash. And yeah, I don't think they were too upset with something like that, because I feel like that was the sort of thing that maybe like my nan probably bought from the charity shop for me or something like that. Like they weren't too upset with that. There was clothes that I could attack and there were clothes that I could not attack. And really they were just kind of like, oh, Kayleigh's just being Kayleigh. You know, they didn't really think anything of it. It was just, you know, let her be. She's being quiet, so let's just let her crack on. And that was it basically. And I definitely don't think they ever thought that I would get to like this point. So yeah, that's basically how it grew. I would like to say though, with my craft stash, I am a bit of a hoarder in some senses. There's like, but it's come good. There are some things that I've held on to that are paying off right now because my kids are using the stuff. Oh my goodness. They found some foam that I bought from the range, when I was like 12. And yes, I still hung on to it, but it was like multicolored foam. It was like prized possession. The kids found it the other day and they're like chopping it up like it's not like it was nothing. And I was just like, I'm so proud that I held on to it and it's now being used. So anyway,
It's finally
sorry.
fulfilled its destiny.
And I was so proud, and I really wanted to share it with the one. I was like, that's going to look ridiculous if I just randomly share that. But I feel like there's a very tenacious, is that the word? Like link there for me to just drop it in here, my pride of my craft stash. But yeah, that's basically how it started. It was just this natural curiosity to try and create a me-made wardrobe, basically, from a very young
Amazing.
age.
I
Yeah.
love that you're more proud of your foam for finally being used than like proud of your kids for like being creative.
I mean, I feel like that was going to happen anyway. They're going to be creative. I am really proud of them. I also, though, keep it in mind that I do question myself, like, am I being legitimately proud, or am I being a biased parent proud? You know, when they draw something, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the best dinosaur I've ever seen. But actually, to the next person, it will just look like a blob with some fangs on it or something, you know. So, yes, I am very proud of them, but I am also very proud of my crafting stash that is just doing so well. It's paying dividends now, you know. Everybody tells you not to hoard stuff. It's a lie. It is a lie. It is. Also, I'm doing a textiles degree, and I cannot tell you how handy it has been to have a collection of paper on hand. So handy. And just, yeah, stuff like that. You can be like, I've been preparing my whole life for this, so it's fine. So, yeah.
When did you start your textiles degree?
I actually started it last February. It's with the Open College of Arts because obviously I have Fleur, so that keeps me quite busy. But then I also have 2 young children, which keep me even busier. So yeah, started last February, and it's been a learning curve, like every single project that I have, because it's like split into units and each unit is split into a project. I don't know if that's normal for degrees, but that's how my one works. I don't know. And yeah, every project I get, I kind of like, I read what I have to do and then I just go, Okay. And then I kind of wait a few days, and then I'm like, I'm just going to start it, like whatever it is, however I start, I'm just going to do something. And then that's when the ideas start flowing and I actually get into it and I go, oh, okay, yeah, now I get it. But every single time, you'd think I'd get to a point where I'd be like, calm down, like we know what's going to happen. No, every single time I'm like, oh my God. But it's okay. It's going
Amazing.
good. I'm enjoying it.
Welcome to the chat, Rachel. Rachel's just joined us. We're just chatting about Kayleigh's textiles degree that she's been doing for a year, which sounds really exciting. So what kind of textiles is it? Is it like a sort of art leaning textiles, or more of like a kind of fashiony textiles, or
It's really like, because I'm still really in the beginning, because it's very much like pacing yourself, which is fantastic, works for me. But it's very much exploration of textiles. Like, it's been really interesting, like because I had to explain to my tutor that I have a fabric shop, so there's a lot of textiles that I know about. I was like, I've chosen some really obscure textiles to focus on at one point because I've never heard of them. Like there's banana fiber. They can like make the wildest things out of different parts of banana plant. It's insane. So it's been interesting to like see textiles from a different perspective as well. Because obviously with the shop, I'm very much like, oh, natural fibres. I am not one for stocking any poly. And that's like that's what I've stuck with for 4 years solidly and will continue to do so. But it's interesting to read it from the perspective of a textiles head, where they just kind of want to give you a balanced argument for everything. So yeah, that's been really interesting. But in terms of whether it's leaning more towards fashion or more towards artsy, is very much at the stage of just create something. It doesn't need to look like anything. We're exploring textiles and the properties that you can get from it. Like, for example, you might want to use something that's like yarn based because you're trying to create a sort of image of fluff. And I know that sounds, but that is literally what you're trying to create. Like, you want to find the fluffiest fabric you can find because that is the aim of the game. Or you want to go for something that's like really shiny or see-through. Anyway, I feel like I'm going on a bit too much about.
yeah, that sounds really cool, really interesting.
Yeah, it's great if you like to geek out about fabric, which weirdly enough, I do like to geek out about fabric. So yeah.
Amazing. Shall we chat a little bit about your stash?
Yes.
So you've sort of mentioned your crafting stash and that coming into its
Yeah,
own. So I get the sense that you're quite a multi-crafter, so you're into like
I
more
am.
than just garment sewing.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like because of having Fleur as garments, fabrics, that's very much expected of me and it does rule the roost. Like, my job demands that I do a lot of sewing or predominantly more sewing. So it's been nice to do the textiles thing to kind of reach out again, but you can't really think. I've sat myself on the opposite side of the table today so that the stash was behind me.
I
But
can put you on solo so we can see more. There we go.
right, so you can kind of see if I go like that. And then
Well, you've
if I
got
turn
calax to the
around,
ceiling.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Classic.
just all you can see is what I'm allowing you to see because there's a bit of stuff over there that we're not going to look at. So right at the top, this one up here is my sewing. It's my sewing books. So there's like Becca Helmson's Zero Waste book up there. There's a few quilt block books up there and some quilting, like actual quilt patterns. And then next to it is a load of fabric from our wedding party last year that I was like, well, I'm not just going to throw away. Over there, this is,
Tricky.
yeah, it's tricky when you're trying to like mirror image. That is a lot of jute I went through a stage of just buying a lot of jute. And then there is just a big basket of overlocking cones, and then we come down, and these are patterns and magazines for the shop. And then these are my amazing little quilter books. Here's one I made earlier. No, I was using it earlier. These are super handy. If you haven't got them, guys, I highly recommend, if you happen to see them in a shop or on a shop online, if you shop online. So the outside is like squishy, and you can use it as like an ironing pad. And then the inside, you've got a cutting mat, and you've also got like this sheet that you can lay out your blocks on if you're doing quilt blocks. But even if you don't do quilting, it is super handy for like ironing in like plackets and facings and all that kind of stuff.
That looks really handy for like socials as well. If you
Yeah,
go
and that's why.
sew somewhere else.
And hence that's why I've got a lot of them, because when I do the workshops, I take them for everything, because I have the little mini irons as well. So it just means that people don't have to really go stray too far from their workstations if they don't want to, for like a tiny little thing they've got to iron. I don't know about you, but it bugs me if I have to put the huge iron on to do a tiny thing and burn my fingers off. It's not
Yeah, I think the idea of putting the ironing board up is enough to be like, especially Chelsea, I won't press it.
No,
I have a little
exactly.
pressing station, so I don't even have to get up. So
Oh, I'm with
great.
you there. I even if I have like the tiniest space to work in, I will have sewing machine, overlocker, iron all around, like, so I don't have to move very far. Yeah, otherwise I'm like, I'm not sewing today. It's just not happening because I can't have everything within reaching distance. But yeah, so you get the idea. Anyway, there's like pom-poms there, like a whole crate of pom-poms. And in here is my art section. I listened to a lot of people during, I moved quite a few times in my 20s, and I listened to family members that said that I was hoarding stuff and got rid of a lot of my art stuff. Back in the day, I would not be able to get it all in one little section, but yeah. But pretty much all of it. Oh,
Then the fabrics in the bottom.
yes.
Nice.
This is all of my. So these are dressmaking. These top 6 are dressmaking. Or just too far. It gets easier if I go like this. And then this bottom one is like old fabrics that you might use for like furnishings or Christmas stocking, you know, like dodgy bits of fabric that you pick up that you're like, that will be amazing. I can't get rid of it, but you don't really have a use for it. The weird ones, they go in the bottom where they hide for most of the time. Yeah, so yeah, and all my quilting cottons are hidden. You cannot see those because they're in a big basket that's overflowing in the corner. So we're going to pretend that most of my station is very neat and tidy. It's not.
We're all about the reality here on Stash Chats. No.
Yeah, I'm not at all an organised. I mean, I am organised, but when I want to be, like, there is a system, but sometimes things move out of the system and create their own systems. So I have other piles that happen, you know, because then like there's the top piles here, the top boxes, squares. They are all for projects that I have already in mind. Or actually the one on your far right, that's kids' fabric and Chris's fabric. That will probably stay there forever.
I was just going to say, do you enjoy sewing for your family? But that probably answers that question.
Yes, I do. It's hard, you know, like I don't get as much time to sew as what I think everybody thinks I have, because I have a fabric shop, I actually probably have less time to sew than other people, because my job isn't 9 to 5. And when I do sewing, it's probably for a workshop that I'm doing. So I have to be prepared for that, obviously. And it is like, I am just grateful the fact that I get to say that I have to do sewing for my job. You know, it's like, oh, I've got to get ready for a quilt block workshop. Oh, you know, at least I'm getting to sew up. I get to sew up a new quilt block every month almost. And I get to use some of the gorgeous quilting cottons that I have in the shop. Like, I'm quite privileged. I appreciate that. But in terms of sewing up my stash, that doesn't happen quite so much. I am planning on booking myself a day a month to sew stuff up for myself, like logging off of social media so it doesn't distract me.
Sounds
Because
like a great plan. Actually get
yeah,
stuff done.
yeah, and it's so good for like just your mental sort of space as well. I never realize it until I've actually done it and go, wow, I feel so much better now. And I didn't realize I needed it. Yeah, my cousin came to stay last year. I feel like it was like November time. I think it was November time. And she came up with this specific intention of us having at least one sewing day. And it just forced me to have that time to sew. It was amazing. I got these trousers sewn up actually. So I actually got something done. It was great. And I was like, that was on my to-do list for ages. So yes, I know we're in February, but you know, we're only halfway through February, so I can still catch up and be like, yes. I actually I did start doing some sewing the other day in January, so I can kind of say I've started it. I started a Romy gather dress.
Oh, I love that pattern.
Yeah, it's been on my to-do list for the longest time. I've probably had that pattern in my stash for a few years maybe. And I was like, my trouble is, do you find this? Okay, you've got all of these things that you want to sew. You struggle to decide which one to do first, and that takes up a lot of time trying to decide which one to do first.
Yeah.
Do you find that?
And
Yeah.
especially if it's like you need to do a toile or you're not sure what size to make or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, I could do this, but I haven't done that decision yet. Or I could do this, but I haven't got the pattern
Yeah.
printed yet. So I'll do something else. And then, yeah, you don't get round to it.
That's it. Yeah. And I get so grumpy as well. Like Chris, my husband, will be like, I'll say to him, I'm going to have a sewing evening tonight. He'll be like, okay, that sounds really nice. So he, you know, snuggles down on the sofa to watch something that he enjoys watching, something very boring, like 24 hours in police custody, that kind of thing. And he'll just leave me to my end of the room. And then it'll probably get like an hour in, and he'll just hear me like huffing and puffing. You're like, are you okay, babe? I'm like, no, I can't decide what to make. And he's like, okay, like what ideas have you got? And I'm like, well, I could sew this, like the Romy Gather dress or something, but I haven't got enough fabric for that because it takes quite a lot of fabric, and I wanted it in this fabric, and now my idea's gone wrong, and I can't touch those fabrics because those are 4 different patterns that I have in my mind, but they would be amazing for the Romy. Do I need to buy some more of that fabric so that I can have it in both? Is that
Yeah,
weird?
that's very relatable. Like when you've got loads of fabric in your stash, but it's all earmarked for different projects, and it's
Oh
quite
yeah.
difficult to like
Oh
change
yeah.
your mind on that.
100%. Yeah, because my heart is set. I know how I'm going to look in that as well. I've daydreamed about it. So I'm like, I can't change that daydream. What? What about all the amazing things that are going to happen in that outfit that I've dreamed about? They're not going to happen. So, no, they have to still stay. And maybe they'll get sewn up in like 10 years' time, and I'll be like, oh, finally, my dreams can come true. Um, but We'll see. I last year I said to myself, right, I'm going to sew up a garment a week, because
It's ambitious.
as if that would actually happen. I mean, there are many talented sewists that do manage that, and kudos to them. But considering I don't get a garment sewn up once a month, let alone once a week, that would be pretty insane. Yeah. But I was at a point where I was like, my sewing stash is absolutely bursting. Because I struggle a little bit as well. When people buy fabric from the shop, I imagine what it is that they want to make with it, and then I feel really inspired. I'm like, oh yeah, I need some of that fabric so I can make something. And then, a little bit goes into my stash.
A bit sneaks in. Yeah, I was going to ask you about this. Like, how has having the shop affected your stash? Like, did you have quite a big fabric stash before you started the shop?
I didn't really. I mean, I did. I had a growing stash. I had a quilting cotton problem. And then when I started the shop and started growing the dressmaking side, that caused a problem. I'm really sorry. I'm being tapped on the shoulder by my children. Yes.
Just go because I'm cold.
Yes, of course you can, babe.
Baba,
Yes, babe.
ask me if I can have some milk, please.
Yes, so you should
Some
be
more
asleep.
milk.
Yes, but you should be asleep.
But Mama,
Yeah.
the clock's still at the 1. It's actually still at the 1.
It definitely shouldn't still be at the 1, darling.
Baba, it's not
Yeah.
working. Please keep giving me books.
Okay.
Because he hasn't got much.
All right, guys, I'm still talking. Okay.
Yeah, Baba.
So, Emily, yes, you can put your dressing gown on.
Yeah,
Rupert, you can read
Baba.
for a bit longer, and I'll go and get you some milk
Baba.
when I'm done. Okay, go on.
Yeah, Baba. Bob.
Yes,
Mommy, don't
guys.
mind if I get Rupert books.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind, darling.
Can I get them from the book?
Yes.
Yeah! Can I as well? Are we allowed to play?
No.
I'm playing.
Just reading. Just reading, because it's bedtime.
Can we get books
Yes.
out of the book?
Yes.
Corner?
Yes.
Yeah. Even me?
No, just Emily. You've got to be tucked up in bed, Rupert.
Oh.
Go on.
Why?
Because it's bedtime. Go on, off you go. I'm on. No, sorry, guys. I'm so
It's the
sorry.
reality of live content.
I'm so sorry.
A little cameo.
It's just, it's just the display of my parenting to the sewing world here. They should be asleep by now, but of course, because we were having this chat, they did not want to go to sleep tonight. So they are still awake. I will have to explain to their teachers tomorrow why they're very tired. But hey, it doesn't matter. It's only one night.
It's because I'm a superstar on my live TV.
Yeah,
It's very encouraging how excited they are for books. I think that's very sweet.
Thanks. Yeah, Rupert's just started to read at school. I think I should just be completely upfront here with how young they are and the fact they're still awake. Some people you're free to judge me. It doesn't matter. My son is 5 and my daughter is 6, so she can read really well. And Rupert has just started to learn to read, so he can sound out. But we've read to them obviously from forever. But Chris isn't super into reading, but I love reading. And I got to read George's Marvelous Medicine to Emily the other day. She had an optician's appointment, so I was like, I've been pretty strict about screen time this year because we were getting a lot of screen time. So I've been like, no screen time at all at home unless like once a week. That's it. You can watch one thing, which is, I never thought I'd be like that, but I am doing it. And you know what? It's actually been amazing. So we go to this optician's appointment and I crack out this book and I'm like, one of my favourite authors. Actually, Rupert was meant to be called Roald, after Roald Dahl. But a midwife took the mickey out of his name, so I didn't. I know, and I was
straight
like,
off the bat, he's out the womb. Straight.
That's it.
No need.
Honestly, his little tag says Roll Gordon, because that was my surname when I had him. And yeah, somebody took the mickey out of it, and I was just like, I can't do that to him for the rest of his life. So it's now his middle name. But yeah, so I read George's Marvelous Medicine, and they loved it. They were so into it, and I was like, yes, winning. So yes, we have a big book stash too.
Nice.
But yeah, so sorry, back to
No, the chat
crafty.
loves it. The mail says the children are so sweet and you're very patient. And Rachel says, honestly, this is just parenting in a nutshell. The little taps on the shoulder. And Alison says, no judgment ever. So you've got support.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Honestly, I hide a lot of the parenting side of my life because I'm actually writing a blog on it at the moment about because Fleur this year I'm changing the way I'm doing things a bit because I didn't feel like the way I was running Fleur aligned with my ethics completely, because I am very much about sustainability. And obviously I do reflect that in the terms of that I only stock natural fibre fabrics. I do spread that out to rayon and viscose and tencel and lyocell, which obviously do go through processing, but they don't use plastics, and it's not super heavy chemicals and all that kind of thing. Sorry, my brain tried to go on a tangent there and I stopped it. So let me get back on track. What was I saying? Yes, so and I use compostable packaging and things like that. So it is very much at the heart, but I felt like the turnover of fabric and trying to push new fabric all the time, it was beginning to feel really icky for me. And how can you run a business and feel icky about trying to pay your bills? Like, it was just getting me really in a mental jam. So I did a lot of reflecting, and I also noticed that just everything is just going very, very fast. Like, the way that our society is run as well, in terms of like how much we buy things, how quickly things come along, the speed of everything is so fast. And I just said to myself, I just can't do that anymore, because it's only me here. So and I expect way too much of myself, especially because like tonight, like this week, I'm parenting on my own. And I don't tell anybody that. I don't make it a big thing, because I feel like it's nobody else's thing to carry, like, I don't want to whine about it, because I made these choices and I'm very fortunate to be in this position. But that also doesn't make it any easier. It's still hard. So I decided that I'm going to slow down Fleur in my own way. And that was I didn't want it to sound like, oh, Fleur is closing up, I'm slowing down, that kind of thing. No, it was like, hang on a second, how do I work best? And how do a lot of other sewists work? We work with the seasons, because I feel like we're really in tune with the seasons. Like, we're all very creative.
Most people sew for the season that we're like currently in as well, don't we? Like, I don't think a lot of people sew like a season ahead, as much as it would be convenient to, but like, I think the seasons are too unpredictable in the UK. So if you get to like April and you're like, right, I'm sewing a summer wardrobe, make a load of like strappy dresses, and then the sun never comes out and you can't wear it. So,
that's it. And you've got all this gorgeous fabric that you've used up on, like, a saltwater slip dress, and it's like, I'm a bit chilly actually. And I just feel like it's also a way that we celebrate the seasons as well. when we're in the season, we're embracing the season by sewing for it. I think it's a way for us to cope with some of the seasons as well, like winter. You know,
so you planning on stocking more sort of seasonally appropriate fabrics then?
Yeah. So it's not just about buying in new fabrics, it's also about highlighting the ones that I've already got. So adjusting the way the website is presented. So it will still be the same that it is, but I'm also going to add a section for the season that we're in. So you can kind of see the wood through the trees. You can go, oh, it's spring, because that's going to be, funnily enough, that's the season that we're going to be doing first. And when I say we, I am very proud and excited and fortunate to say I'm working with 4 amazing sewists this year who are my seasonal sewist spotlighters. And basically what they're going to be doing is they are going to be taking us through the journey that they go on when they're creating a garment for their favourite season of the year. So we've got the gorgeous Debbie Brady for spring. And she's actually at the moment choosing which fabric she would like to use for the season. And they get the really exciting opportunity that they actually get to be part of choosing at least one of the fabrics that are going to be in stock. So that's
they
really
get to make a supplying decision as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, running a business on your own is quite isolating in a way. But I don't mean that in a really harsh way. I mean that in a just, you know, you get really used to your own company sort of thing.
But it's also quite a lot to take on because you've got to make all those decisions by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because with Stash Hub, obviously, I'm very fortunate to be working with Doug. And even when there are things that are like within my remit, like, you know, social media posts or emails or, you know, whatever, I can say to him, what do you think about this? Is this the right kind of angle to approach it by or whatever? And obviously, because he's in the business with me as well, it's you know, easy to engage him on that, whereas it must be quite difficult to be you know, on your own, because obviously you can ask other people, but they're not as invested as you know,
they just don't see it from the same perspective. This is the thing. And you're completely right. It's I was looking to have people that I could bounce off of this year, and that's the thing. So yeah, it was really nice to be able to share this with people. Like that's felt like a bit of a gift, you know, being able to share it with people and allow them to feel the excitement, because, you know, like I've been doing this for 4 years, so it's easy to kind of like be in it and not go, oh wow, you know. Probably the first time I did that in a while was actually when I shouted about the fact that we've got to 4 years, and I did sit down. I had a lot of thank you. I'm going to take that. It did knock me sideways a little bit because I don't really take stock that much. And I had a few people message me to say, like, how are you going to celebrate? And I was like, obviously, you know, we're having a flash sale. And actually, on the 14th of on the 14th of February, sorry, guys, some of the people that applied to become seasonal sewists are going to share their favourite makes from Fleur's fabric or pans, whatever.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so it's just a little way to just, because I'm nothing without the community. I'm nothing. I'm just a lady with an awful lot of fabric without the community. So I really like to put the mirror back onto the community and be like, guys, it's actually you that need to shine. You are the ones that, you know, make this possible.
Well, I often think that the business we, it's not just like I'm referring to myself as a we, it's like we as in like the business and our community around us, which I think is really amazing. But I think as well, like showcasing people's makes in the Fleur fabric is really in line with your sort of plan as well to like slow down a bit, and because obviously the rate of buying, especially in fabric, as a lot of people with our massive houses know, the buying can really outpace the making. So just taking a moment.
Exactly. And I feel like I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, so I didn't actually finish what I was saying about that. So I'm really sorry. That is standard, I'm afraid to say. But yes, that is exactly what it is about. So that's why the seasonal sewists are coming in, and they are taking the whole season to take us through the process, even if maybe, you know, they might be the sort of person that get a dress sewn up in a week. And that is absolutely fine. I have not said to them, no, you have to take 3 months. It is very much a case of you take as long as you take. That's fine. You can have the fabric in your mind in advance. All I want to do is I just want to pace it with this, with social media side, to take it slowly through the process, because it's very much less is more this year. I'm highlighting fabrics that I already have in stock. I will be bringing in new stocks because I still need to replenish stock, obviously. But there won't perhaps be as much as usual. There's only going to be one drop a season. So that means that I might be holding on to fabrics that come in, which is a bit painful for me in some respects, because obviously I can see other fabric shops dropping fabric left, right and centre, as they should do. But for me, I have to have this boundary. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And I was finding that fabric was coming through at such a rate for me that fabric would just sit there not getting uploaded onto the website because I just didn't have the time and I didn't have the energy after doing everything else. I was like, I just need to not do something with fabric for a minute. And yeah, that was really what it was behind, is that especially in the fabric world, there is still a really high turnover of stock coming in, and that is what felt really jarring to me, that it just wasn't aligning. How can I say that I am trying to be more sustainable and ethical when actually, to survive, I am pushing fabric constantly at a really high turnover, as in I'm buying in new stock to remain relevant and interesting to people. And I, at the end of last year, probably autumn sort of time, that's when I really had this realization of, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe I'm going, staying fresh and relevant by getting new fabric is unsustainable, in not just the perspective of that's a lot of fabric and it takes a lot of resources to create that fabric. It's unsustainable in terms of like financially, but also my energy. I'm only one person. So it was just exhausting pretty much every resource that I had available. And I just was like, hang on. So many people say to me, oh, I've got so much on my wish list. And, oh, you've got so many lovely fabrics. I don't know which to choose from, which is obviously lovely. And I love that. And thank you so much for loving the fabrics that I stock. But also I was like, is there too many? Is that causing a problem? Like there's so much to choose from. You don't know which to choose first, or, you know, do you know what I mean? It's like it's trying to see the wood through the trees sort of thing. You just can't. And I thought, actually, maybe if I slowed down and I highlighted fabrics throughout the season and really dived into them, you know, like being able to tell you a bit more about rayon, for example, how it's made, why I consider it more ethical, what you can make with it, and even down to things like we want to take a closer look at the techniques that you might want to use during the seasons as well, and what fabrics will work well with those techniques. And when I say we, it's because actually I've also brought in some help with content ideas as well. Because as you say, when you're generating content and you can bounce off of somebody just to get a double check, that's what I was really struggling with, because I just felt like I was just churning out humdrum content. I didn't want to really look at it that much. So I was like, well, how's anybody else going to want to look at it, you know? And I had all these ideas, but I felt like, because I'm in it, I can't see what everybody wants. So I've got somebody that's helping me. I've got a couple of people that are doing different things. And still very early days, so we're seeing how it goes, but it's been amazing so far. So I'm really pleased with it. And some of the ideas coming out of it are awesome. So yes, very good stuff.
Exciting.
Yeah.
It's really good as well to hear people talking about their like New Year aims in February, and like how it's gone really well so far, and like your plans to keep it up and all this. I think it's really encouraging. I feel like the February is often the graveyard of New Year's resolutions, or maybe like the second week of January, isn't it? But I think it's good that you've sort of obviously thought quite a lot about this and then made a plan that's going to work for you. It's really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I have to keep it up to some extent, because what was working before wasn't working, or it wasn't working for me. And that's what I'm very driven this year, or maybe it's just like from last year. I don't know. I feel like maybe because the amount of time that I've been in business with Fleur as well, it's helped to shape what I want. Like I've gotten started, I've got my foot in the door, I've kind of got the lay of the land, and I've spent a few years building that up. Now I feel like I am more confident that I can turn around and say, actually, do you know what? This should be working for me, because I chose to work for myself. And if it isn't, why isn't it? And how can I change that? And that's what I'm doing. And the idea behind it is that I can go, oh, right, I can spend more time with the kids, or I can take that day to sew for a day and not feel guilty like I should be doing something else. Because that's not the point in having your own business, is it? And I can't fill anybody else's cups up if my cup is empty. So it's very much about putting that perspective on things and carrying that through. But yes, so, and also just having the opportunity to meet more people in person as well. Like this year, I'm not really sure if I can say about it yet, actually. Well, possibly, maybe I might be helping somebody at the Stitch Festival for a day. It's a small business that I absolutely love. So I'm going to be hanging around with them. It's not another fabric shop, because obviously that would be weird. But yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, very excited. Well, because a lot of people ask me, oh, why don't you exhibit at these shows? And my answer is always the same. I would just be absolutely fried. I'd be fine for the first day, but if you saw me for the next 3 days, you'd be like, she is not like what she is on the Instagram. So yes, I will just be doing one day, because I get very tired and I get quite overwhelmed. But similarly, I get an absolutely huge buzz from seeing lots of lovely sewists. And isn't it just lovely when you see other sewists in real life and you can talk about sewing?
Yeah,
you don't have to
it's
be
very
like,
exciting.
yeah,
and it's like not weird as well when you see you like when you recognize a fabric or you recognize a pattern and you're like, oh, is that a Marnie blouse? Oh, is that dead stock fabric? Because if you see people in person but not at a sewing show, you're there staring at them and you're like, oh, I really recognize that fabric. I think Rainbow Fabrics had it like last March. And then you're like, maybe they didn't sew the thing, and actually they just bought it from New Look, where the fabric was originally
the thing, isn't
made
it?
for.
And then you're going to go up to them and be like, did you make that? And they'll be like, well,
yeah. And then also, like, if you don't sew, did you make that's not necessarily like a compliment, because they're like, oh, are you saying that I
Oh,
look like
yeah. Didn't
handmade, and
think
like
of
there's that
that.
whole thing there. So you're just like, you know, you don't want to be like weird, but then when you're at a sewing thing, you're just
No.
like, oh my gosh, I love your dress. Did you make it? Almost
Yeah.
everyone's made their outfit. They're really excited to
Yeah.
talk about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really exciting.
I do agree, but I have still managed to be that weird person at a show. Um, I saw, I'm pretty sure I saw a customer and in fabric that I sold them. And I say pretty sure because they tagged me in their make. But I, believe it or not, I get really shy when meeting people in like, I mean, I the first couple of times I met you, I just like came away and being like, I couldn't say anything. She probably thinks that I'm just really weird because I couldn't think of anything to say. There were so many silences. And I just get really, really shy. And so I saw this lady at a show and I was sitting down to have my lunch, and you know where there's like never anywhere to sit, so you just have to like squat at the side of the show. And I think I was there with my husband and I was like staring at this lady and I was saying to him, I'm pretty sure I know who that lady is. And he's like, why don't you go and say hello? And I'm like, I'm hoping she'll say hello to me first. And then I made eye contact. And when I didn't like look away, it got weird. And I was like, yeah, this didn't
You're
work
both
out
just
how
there,
I
like
yeah.
staring each other down.
Yeah, she was just looking at me like, I guess probably thinking the same thing. Like, oh, you know, I don't want to go and say hello just in case it isn't her kind of thing. But that look on the face of, are you being a weirdo? I feel like that did come across. So I try not to just be the one to instigate anything. I try to put on the socials in the morning and the days before that I'll be going, and just hope and pray that if anybody did want to say hello, because they might not want to, but if they did, they'll see me first, so I don't have to be that person that goes, hi, and they'll be like, I have no idea who you are.
I feel like
Who
you
are
need to
you?
make like a big like Fleur t-shirt or a hat or something, so
I
that
have thought about it.
everyone's like, they're not like, oh, is that
Yeah.
Kayleigh from
I mean,
Fleur? You're just like, bang, Fleur is in
yes.
the
I
house.
feel like I need to make myself a t-shirt, and then I need to borrow somebody's. Now we're all going to have a debate about this. Cricket, whatever you call it, one of those things. I need to borrow one of those and just put like on it, yes, I am Fleur. You know, and from the back, my name is Kayleigh. Please say hello. Because yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get to that point where I'm the brave one first. You know, it's fine if I'm at a workshop and I'm hosting it because, you know, I have to be the leader
Then you're in
there.
charge. You've got the power there.
Then I'm like, well, you've come along here, you've booked onto it, so you obviously want to come along and see me, so that's great. So thank you for that. But yeah, at a show, I'm just like, you know, I'm not exhibiting. I'm here as a customer, and people might just be like, who is she? She's just another customer, like just another sewist. Who does she think she is? Or I just look like a weird stalker because I'm like, oh my goodness, I loved your dress when you shared it on Instagram. This is the fabric, blah blah blah. Like this is Ecotex. It's from Dashwood Studio. It came out in Christmas 2022.
You just follow everyone around and be like a little fact file for them, and they'll be like, oh.
I struggle not to. Like, I'm okay if I go with my husband. Like, I take my husband with me to these shows. He's brilliant because he supports me in these. Like, I don't have to drag him along. I'm like, Chris, will you come to Mission Stitching show with me, please? And he's all for it because he knows that if he's there, then I will actually talk to people. But when he's not there, then I'm just like, I will be like, trying to catch people's eye, walking around a little bit. I went with my mum-in-law to the Knitting and Stitching show last year, and that was quite helpful. I was coming out the toilets just towards the end of the day, and Ali is her name. Guys, no.
Mama,
Yes.
can I have my slippers, please?
They're under the table, darling.
What I forgot to do upstairs.
What?
You know, I asked for
Dressing gown?
dressing gown.
Yeah.
I forgot to put it on, so I put it on before I went.
Okay, you need to go up to bed. It's very, very late now.
Yeah, but the
No.
big head's still to the one.
No, because that clock obviously isn't working. Look at this.
I forgot to do milk.
No, I'm still talking, darling. Look at that time. Look how late that is. I'm going to tell your teacher in the morning. Okay? Right, no.
Who's
my
teacher?
Shh, I know what you're trying to do, baby. Go on. They really want to be on the screen. They really want to be on the
We'll
screen.
let you go in a minute.
Honestly, no, it's lovely talking. I was really just hoping that they were just going to go to sleep. That was very much, what's the word? Wishful thinking. No, what they want is they really want to be on the screen, and that's just not happening. So yeah,
like,
so
I'm
last
trying
year,
to protect you. I'm trying to keep you off the internet. Just go to bed.
this
please.
is it. Honestly, I do though, because when I share stuff on Instagram, like, so I've got way too many accounts on Instagram, and so I've obviously got Fleurs. I don't show their faces on that at all. Like I'll try and put, if I've got a picture with their face showing, then I'll try and put words over their face and stuff like that. Then I've got Kayleigh Miranda Makes. And that's my personal sewing, because I felt really weird sharing my personal sewing on the business page. And then if I make stuff for them, then obviously I want to take a photo of them, but still I try and just like cut out their face. I might risk putting a story up with their face, because not many people follow me on there. But then I've got my private accounts. So shock horror, anybody that shares me on Kayleigh Miranda Makes, that's not my personal one. And I will share it on my private personal, but that's because it's private, so nobody can see it unless I give them permission to, because I just worry about these things. So yes, I protect them. They're not allowed on the internet, even though they're super cute, and they're also really big pickles, and they absolutely love the limelight. So honestly, I did a sewing retreat last year with Jill and Vicky from Sewing Bee, different seasons, and we have like a little group chat on Zoom or whatever it is beforehand, so we can get to know everyone. Again, I feel like they're either meant to be in the bath or they're meant to be in bed, or both. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what it was, but they came in and, you know, they just wanted to talk to everyone. They were like, oh, Vicky, like in the corner. They didn't stop talking about Vicky for ages and ages. She's like, they have no real idea. Like, they don't watch Sewing Bee, so they've got no idea about Sewing Bee. They obviously know a lot about my sewing and stuff, but yeah, and they saw Vicky, and if they see her on my Instagram, they're like, oh, that's Vicky. Vicky likes us. Vicky's lovely. We love her hair. We love her headphones. So yes, they're absolute little fan children of Vicky, and obviously Jill too, but they didn't really, they just, yeah, I think it's probably because Vicky was talking to them. She made that mistake. She went to that trip.
Don't engage.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I've left that story about the Knitting and Stitching show half told. I'm not sure if people will really, we might
it's
leave
fine.
that.
I think because I've helped on a lot of stands at like Knitting and Stitching and Stitch Festival, and it's actually really good because you're on that one stand, so you can just say, I'm going to be at the Knitting and Stitching show, I'm going to be on this stand if you want to come and say hi. Because I think if you go and you just you know, as a customer, and then you're like, oh, this person's going on this day, like I'll say hi, but then you don't run into each other because it's so busy.
No,
so you can just say,
that's
come
it.
to the stand, and we can talk there. And
This is
then
what I'm
also
thinking.
you're there at the stand, so you get to see
Mm.
everyone, but you also aren't
Yeah.
buying loads of stuff for yourself,
This
which
is
is the
it.
risk as
This
well.
is it.
So like,
Because
yeah,
I
I'd highly
just,
recommend it.
I honestly, so my spending habits for fabric, etc. Last year were just limited to Stitch Festival and Knitting and Stitching. And yeah, so Knitting and Stitching is always around my birthday. It's either the weekend of my birthday or immediately after my birthday. So I just ask for money shamelessly from everybody because I can then go and spend freely at the show. But last year I was like, no, I am gonna spend the money, but I'm gonna be really good this year, and I'm gonna do what other people do, which is they go in, they look all around, they kind of like make a mental note of things that they like, and then they go back and buy them. I'm gonna be that person. I went in, and I kid you not, I immediately broke it. I saw I can't remember what they're called, like a cake, I think they're called, of pre-cut quilting fabrics. And it was, I think it was it's over there, but I daren't try and dig it out. But it was a ruby star, I think. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous. It was one that I'd been like waiting to get for ages, and it had 10% off, and it was the last one there, and I was like, buying that straight away.
And then once you've broken the seal, nothing can be done. You're just like, well, I'm shopping now.
Oh my goodness. I was like, straight after that, I was like, now I'm going to be serious about this. Now I'm not going to do the impulse buying. And pretty much straight away after that, I saw somebody selling boxes to knit up your own socks. I love socks. Okay, I am mad about socks. Comfy socks, fun socks. I have standards for socks. I always have done. I always will do. I love socks. And I do dabble with a bit of knitting, but I have to be frank here. I've never knitted myself a pair of socks in my life. In fact, I've only knitted myself up a vest to date.
So you haven't knitted the kit up yet then?
I tried to. Do you know? Okay, so this is going to show my amateur-ishness, but a skein, how you say it, whatever, undoing those things are really hard.
You need the little windy machine thing.
I thought that was just a con. I thought that's one of those things. Oh, you got to buy these. Oh no. Do it, guys, do it, because my stuff has ended up in an absolute mess. I tried to unwind that thing. It ended up in a tangle. And Chris is like, just give up. Just cut it. And I'm like, do you know how much this yarn costs? I am not just cutting it.
If you don't have the like windy thing, you need someone to like sit and hold it whilst you like wind it all by hand, and it's like a whole thing.
I thought that was just a complete Izzy.
No, I've got a cat involved as well.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, lack of boundaries with my children and my cat. No, everybody loves to be involved in this house. That's what it is. And I'm a very loving person. Yeah. But yes, I did buy the sock kit, and I was so excited to knit up my own socks, and I haven't even managed to untangle the thing. Yeah, so one day that'll get knitted up. Funnily enough, though, I went for a massage end of last year. Not that I'm the sort of person that gets to go for a massage all the time, guys, okay? I feel like that needs a disclaimer. This was a treat. I went, and the lady that was giving me a massage happens to be a crocheter. So we had a lovely chat. I can hear a child coming down the stairs again. I'm really sorry, guys. I had a lovely chat with my masseuse, and guess what? We've pretty much bought the same kit, and neither of us have gotten any further. It's like the universe is aligned.
You're just like, dude,
Guys.
you're supposed to be relaxing me. Don't give
I
me
know,
this
right?
and
She
guilt.
didn't stop talking the entire time. I mean, once you get me started, as you can tell, I can talk for England. But I was also like, I felt compelled, like I had to talk at this point because she was so nice. And I was like, guys, no, no, because this is Virgin on Rude now. So up you go, and I'll be there in 5 minutes. Okay? No, you're not going on the screen. Come on, off.
That's really, 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 really bored.
Well, then go to sleep.
No.
We'll let you go now.
I'm really sorry, guys. I'm
That's all
really
right.
sorry. They are so
They'll be too-
tired. You should
They'll
see
be
their
too hyper to
faces.
sleep now.
I think we'll probably all go to
Bless
bed
them.
now because it's just like so close to my bedtime as well. But yes, but thank you so much for having me on. I hope that I've answered some of the mysteries of what happens behind Fleur as.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear about your plans for the year, and I'm excited to look out for the first spring project and get inspired for the spring, because I know I definitely need it. You did a post the other day about how like spring is coming. I think that was you, wasn't it? And I was just like,
I'm pretty sure I share a lot of stuff, so let's hope it was me. But yes, but this week I started recording some of the Ask Me Anything questions. So because it's been a bit disjointed because I go off on tangents, as you can tell, and that does float out to my social media as well. It's just having to spin a lot of plates. I think you have to kind of like put lots of different hats on. But carrying on from the 4-year anniversary birthday thing, we thought it'd be a really good idea. A load of fabric just fell down, sorry. We thought it'd be a really good idea to introduce me again, because I'm not very good about saying hi, because I feel like you guys are actually sick of me, which is insane, I know, but anyway, so hearing it from somebody else, I was like, that's a really good idea. So the idea behind it is that you guys get to ask me questions that perhaps I haven't answered tonight. And so I started recording them today. And so for the next week, at least, there will be reels and carousels answering questions about things like, why is it called Fleur Airs? And also like, how do I select the fabrics and things like that? So those have been a few of the questions so far.
Awesome.
So yes, but if you have any more questions, feel free.
I've put links to your Floretter's website and also your Instagram account in the description below this YouTube video. So if anyone's watching now, if you didn't get a chance to ask in the live chat, or if you're watching on catch up, you can ask Kayleigh your extra questions there on her Instagram as well.
Yep, because also, you know, if you send me a message on Instagram, it's me that's answering it. So, you know, even if I don't answer in a reel or something, I'm always really happy to chat. So yeah, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, it was lovely to chat. Thanks for coming on, Kayleigh. And I'll be back at 8 p.m. next week with another member of the sewing community. So thank you guys for joining, and thank you, Kayleigh. Bye.
Thank you, Vet. Thank you, everyone. Bye.